6 sacks, that I think would have made it a little bit trickier. But it was also because Jalen Hurts was excellent in this one. He was look, there's a lot to get to here. He was very calm, granted, in significantly superior circumstances. He was really effective as a runner and a scrambler, which I thought was really big in this game in certain key moments.
I agree with you. And most of the year, he's been like that until he jacked up his knee. He tweaked it earlier in the season, and then everybody kind of wondered if it was okay because he would show flashes of his true speed, and then we kind of dumb it down a bit. And then you got that situation when he got bent up, and then he had to wear the knee brace. We was wondering what it was going to be like after the LA game, I think it was. And then he came out with the knee brace against Washington, warmed up with it, and then took it off. And that was a big concern for Philadelphia. And then early in the game, he took off and just pretty much eliminated what everybody may have thought of his knee and his speed. So Jalen's been able to run really the last half of the year really full tilt. And then it was good until it wasn't up in that LA game. And then, of course, everybody was worried about it. He finished the game. He was sure to make sure everybody knew he finished the game. But that was a huge concern. But it was not as bad as we thought it was. He wore the knee brace, warmed up with it, then took it off before the game started. And like I said earlier in the game, he took off a couple times and he let Washington know that he was okay. So
he hit the explosive throws that we associate with him down the sideline. And I thought he also made some very impressive throws on the run, which is not something that he has been the best at this season.
Probably taking that back to the knee thing again. But the stats will say that when he rolls out to his left, when they force him out to his left, his passing percentage drops pretty dramatically. But if you look at what he did in the Super Bowl, most of the times when he had to utilize that extra strategy, he was rolling out right. He was getting up out of there and he would take it around the corner, get around that edge, and then get positive yardage, or he was getting rid of the ball. He was finding AJ, he was finding Devontae. He was making it happen, but it was mostly to his right side or up the middle because he gashed them a couple times up the middle to break their back, keep the chains moving. And they spent so much time trying to stop Saquon Barkley. They forgot about QB1. And you cannot do that because you know Jalen Hurts will burn you. And it turned out in that Super Bowl, he ended up being the leading rusher. Now, Saquon Barkley still had a relatively good game, but he had 97 all-purpose yards. So they pretty much held him in check when it comes to running the ball, but Jalen Hurts picked up the slack.
I think the way I would just summarize Hurts' performance here, and we can talk about kind of why all this happened. He played the best game of his career in the last Super Bowl.
Right.
He played the 2 best games of the season in the NFC Championship in the Super Bowl.
Facts.
He played the 2 best games of the season. If that's not a big game player, I don't know what is.
We'll pump the brakes on the statue talk right now until he finished playing, but I feel what you're saying. Jalen Hurts has been somebody who gets the job done, and that's been his criticism and his praise all season. The people that don't like him are the ones that are saying he's got to find a better way to win. He's got to pass the ball better to be able to win the ball. And people that love Jalen Hurts, what do they always say? He's just finding a way to win. And that's what he did in the Super Bowl. And he basically beat the dog crap out of the Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody, they put 8 men, 9 men, 13 men in the box to figure out a way to stop Saquon Barkley. And for the better part, they did. They did what they wanted to do. But like I've said before, if Spags is going to blitz like that, every time you blitz, you gambling. So when you bring in somebody extra to the line of scrimmage, that means there's somebody that's not in the secondary or at the very least at linebacker depth. So somebody in that secondary got to make a decision. And Jalen burned them in the air. He burned them with that pass with Jahan Dotson. Then he had that back shoulder pass with A.J. Brown. Then they had, matter of fact, A.J. Brown had two of them on the right side, but the one got called back for the BS offensive pass interference. And then, of course, the dagger with Devontae Smith down the middle. That was beautiful. So that was the one thing that they didn't count on. They just knew that Jalen Hurts was not going to be able to beat them in the air, and he proved them wrong. And I don't understand, especially from Kansas City's perspective. Y'all know what he did the last time we played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. He lit it up. So don't look at it like he can't do it. And I think that was the mistake. Jalen told you, I'm going to win the game the way I need to win the game. And it's not by throwing the ball 30-something times a game or 300 and 400 yards. He's rewriting the script when it comes to that. And people are not used to it. People don't like it. They still want to have a 6'5" golden arm quarterback back there throwing it 30-something times for 300 and 400 yards. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the game. I collected some stats. There was 45,000 passing yards at home on the couch watching the Super Bowl. If you tally up all of the passing yards from all of the quarterbacks that were in the playoffs that didn't make the Super Bowl, 45,000 yards sitting at home, sitting in Cancun. So don't tell me that guarantees you a win in the Super Bowl or even just getting to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts is rewriting that narrative. You got to be efficient. You got to hold on to the ball. You can't turn the ball over. And you got to have at least a decent defense to give your team an opportunity to win. He had the backup with Saquon. He could run the ball, and everything fell into place. Howie Roseman put all the pieces together, and Jalen Hurts was steering that ship. And he steered it all the way to New Orleans and took the Super Bowl from the Kansas City Chiefs and ended all of that three-peat talk.